Welcome to another edition of Interruption. We have a special treat for you guys today. My guest has won a Tonya Award, has been on As the World Turns, All My Children, Above the Rim, and her latest feature she has wrote, produced, direct, and starred in The Red Pill. I'm talking no other than Tonya Pickens. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me, Otis.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. I love your work. I've been admired. You've always graced the stage and the film with beauty and grace. So once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Trust me, in Above the Rim, I was envious of Leah. I was yeah. I was envious. So my first question I have for you is what got you into film? I know everybody, path is different. Some people dove into it, called to it. What got you into film and acting?
Well, I'm from Chicago, and so I got into the business when I was in elementary school.
Oh, wow.
I started doing commercials, and there was McDonald's was there, headquarters there, and Coca-Cola was headquartered there. So I started working in commercials, when I was in elementary school.
Sure.
And modeling. I was the Smile for the Coke and the Smile campaign in the 70s. And then I started doing theater in high school professionally, and then came to New York after my first year in college. I came to New York and then got into doing more film and more episodic work and Broadway and stuff like that.
So so your answer just led into my next question. So that's beautiful. As far as on the acting part, what are the challenges, the difference between acting in film and on stage?
I think the simplest way to answer that is the size of the performance.
Okay.
On stage, you have an audience that may be very far away. The difference between a 99 seat theater and an 1,800 or 5,000 seat theater. In order for people who are very far away to see the performance, you have to have a muscularity. You have to be big. You have to have the performance be in your body when you're on the stage.
Okay.
And when you get on film, the size of your performance depends on the size of the lens and the size of the shot. Okay. So the further away the lens is, like with the theater, your performance can be a little bigger. And as the lens gets tighter and closer, then you want to dial your performance in so that it's internal, because the camera lens has this ability to feel like it is reading thought. So Colin Trevorrow, who directed me in The Book of Henry, was the first director I'd ever worked with who explained that to me, that the way he was working with Naomi Watts, he had a 1, 2, and a 3. Like, a 3, you're going to let the tears roll out of your eyes. But when we get really close, you're going to do it at a 1 so that it's all inside, so that no matter what size of the shot they go to, the camera still feels the performance, but your performance has to be different depending on where the camera is situated.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, that's a good answer. One thing about the show, Interruption, we go off of your answer. So it's nothing to debate or anything. When we ask the question, we want, your thought and how you...
Yeah, but if I could demonstrate, it's like, if the camera's really wide, you could be like, you could be like that. But if the camera's really close, like I am right now, that looks really bad. That looks too big.
Okay.
Right? So if I went back over there and did a thing, my performance could be big and physical. But as soon as the camera comes in, I have to be still. Blinking eyes and motion give different impressions on people when they're looking in a camera. Like blinking eyes can make people feel like you're untrustworthy. Right. So you have to be conscious of exactly what everything on your face is doing when they move in on close-ups.
let me ask you one. Since you said that, and it's funny because I didn't even have this as a question, but since you said this, does that explain sometimes the difference between like when you were on the soaps versus on the film? Because it seems like a lot of times on the soaps, there's more close up, the film and the camera coming in, things are more detailed. And it seems like, when you're acting on a soap, just what you explained, your everything is a little bit more detailed as far as the close up because you don't have a lot of far away shots in soap operas.
Well, soap operas are kind of like a teleplay.
Okay.
They're not like television or film.
Okay.
They're very talky.
Mm-hmm.
And you can play theatrically because the camera can follow you around the room. So you can almost play theatrically and people expect it to be big and over the top, and you can get away with that on a soap. But most episodic and film, mm-hmm. they're looking for something a little more naturalistic, less theatrical. They want to feel like you're not acting, like they're seeing something intimate, being a fly on the wall.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. My next question for you is, what's the most I would say challenging from with this new project that you have coming out? You wrote it, you directed, and you also starred. What are the challenges in those?
And I produced it.
And you produced it. What are the four challenges? Different challenges in each role that you had to do to bring this film to life?
Well, as a producer, I had to come up with the money. And since it was my own money, that was easier than trying to get it from other people.
Oh, well, you're the executive producer.
Actually, I'm the producer. I'm the producer. Executive producers are actually people who just give their name.
Oh.
I learned that.
You can call me.
So executive producers are people who like, yeah, you can use my name.
Okay. You should call me then.
I'm the producer. Okay. Once I decided to greenlight my film, mm-hmm. Since it was a one-woman operation, I then had to convince actors to do the parts. And then I had to hire all of the crew. Right. I had to I found a girlfriend who would come and help me with some of the tasks of running the set because I knew I'd be on set directing. So I needed somebody who would be able to run the catering or take care of the housing. So I've learned a lot of skills doing this. I negotiated everybody's contracts. I did all the negotiations with the union, whatever the contract was, figuring out what contract it was going to be, figuring out what my budget is, how much I could spend for things. And then what I've learned in this process, I always imagine, oh, you get it in the can, that's it. Post is way more expensive than production.
Okay.
On an indie. So post is more expensive. It takes more time. I didn't really budget quite for my post. I really thought, oh, if I just get it in the can, the rest is going to happen. But I'm learning that post is everything. So, all those details of sound design and editing and the visual effects, particularly in horror, very expensive, very time consuming. Okay. And I've gotten to do all of it.
Yeah, I see that. What was the other challenge as far as when you were, behind the camera, right, directing and trying to get the shot versus when you are, because you're starring in it as well, and then you're in front of the camera?
Had I had a lot of money and a lot of time, I think that the challenges I faced wouldn't have been the same. I had very little money and very little time, so I couldn't rehearse. But because I knew my actors, I knew they were theater actors. I also knew, one thing that I find kind of annoying when I'm working in television or film is a director who's like, well, do this or do this, who's critical of everything. So I was really like, we're gonna play these long scenes like they're theater. I need you to take 10 counts before you start the line so you can have whatever you feel. And when you get to this part of the line, take some time to have that. I mean, I was really directing like that because I knew my actors could do it, but I wanted them to know, do what you're going to do. But, here's a place where I need you to take a pause because I have some things I want to do there. Definitely, I love actors. And so I kept falling in love with my actors and doing lots of coverage for them. So my character has the least coverage in the film. Definitely the scenes that I was in, aren't exactly how I wanted them to be because I couldn't see myself in them. So, I certainly got a rehearsal without me in it, but there are things that I'm like, you know what? I don't know that I need to act in them again.
From the trailer I saw, listen, I was mad it was just a trailer. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, I'm ready. Oh, they stopped. Oh, it looks really intense.
I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm real scared about it.
So
I don't think white people have ever seen the Black gaze on them. Like, can you think of any time where a Black person has made a movie that is like, this is how we see you white people? Can you think of one? I can't.
No, I saw a spoof, but that wasn't like, this is how we think. It was just flipping the roles.
Yeah, and so this is really like how I see you. And it's interesting because most of my team is white because, they're the ones. And so when they give me these notes about things they don't like, mm-hmm. and things that are like, well, that's, that's so this and that's so that, I'm like, that's how you are.
I can tell you unapologetic, honest.
And then they're like, oh, you meant that. Like, they don't think we have intention. Like, they think I made a mistake by showing them in a not a good light. It's like, right. No, that's how I see you.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's scary. And it's like, at first I thought Black people would just be able to laugh, but I think it may be scary for Black people because they may think, you let them know we see that? That's some dangerous shit you're doing.
No, I think with everything going on right now, I think a lot of people are going to applaud you. Like, finally, somebody said something, because you're speaking from how we as a community have been feeling and seeing. So thank you for doing that.
As I said, it's scary, and I think it's gonna make Black people. I thought at first it would just make them laugh, but I think when they're in the room with white people, they're gonna be like, what they think she. I mean, there's some lines in there that are like outrageous, but I keep it real. I
was about to say that's I think that's probably what's going to make it a great film. Is that stay honest with it versus not trying to step on any toes and
and remember, it's a horror film, which means it goes over the top and everything is larger than life, but in a certain sense it is life. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first wrote it, it seemed kind of fantastical, but as this uprisings and COVID has happened, it's almost like I wrote a documentary.
Perfect timing. What inspired you to want to write, direct? I mean, do everything that you did with this movie, right? What inspired you to do that?
That I feel like I have, I'm at the top of my game, and nobody's giving me an opportunity to work at the level that I'm capable. Most of the jobs that people have been hiring me to do is to it takes like this much energy for me to do it. Like, they made me the Secretary of State on Madam Secretary. And at first I thought, oh, I'm gonna get to do what Tonya Leone does. And it was like, nope. I wasn't even in every episode of a show called Madam Secretary. And I was the Secretary of State, and I wasn't even in every episode. And when I was there, I barely had a line. So I became one of the props that eats. So I was like, I have all this energy and all this creativity, and if nobody else is gonna hire me, I'm gonna hire myself.
Well, you know what? It's so funny because the great Bill Dukes and I talked about that, and we talked about. So now the next actor I interview, now I can throw your name in there because I was asking him, when will we get more Tyler Perry, Spike Lee's, and I'm naming all these men. So now I can add Tonya to the list to say, hey, look, and I like what you did. You said, you know what? Since nobody's gonna hire me to do the work I'm capable of doing, I just do it myself, put it out myself, and when the money come back,
It comes back to me too.
Because you spent your money.
Yep, I did, and you know what? It might be the last time in history that I'll make something where it's all my money. Who knows though? I liked having all the control so much. I really have liked it, and so it's like that might just be the way I do it because there's just no way anybody would have greenlit the story I'm telling, because ain't no giveaway here. Right. The white people are the bad guys.
Listen, I tell you what, and this is just a suggestion, you could take that and actually probably make it a show. Probably make it a show. Because think about all these different outlets that are craving content right now.
Well, we shall see how they do with a Black woman showing them in the light that she sees them in. We'll see. As I said, I expect to get some hard, people gonna come for me.
When or where can we see it? When will it be out, and where can we see it?
I hope that we'll be seeing it before the election, trying to make a deal that allows it to be in multiple places. That's always the challenge because there's all these drive-ins, and I want people to get to see it in the theater because there's nothing like seeing a horror movie live. So trying to make a deal where it can both stream and be in some of these drive-in venues is my hope, because I really want people to get to experience it, where you're scared, not just in your house where you can go, look, I'm gonna get up and go into the kitchen and I'll just listen to it, where you really are forced to just stay with it. And I will tell you that there's some, I'm gonna tell you really one of the most violent moments in the movie, really. But there were times when I wrote things and then as I was shooting them, I realized, oh my God, I didn't even know what I was writing when I wrote it. Like someone gets lynched in the movie. And instead of the picture postcards that we see of white people smiling at a lynching, these white people are horrified.
Okay.
Because it's one of them.
Okay.
Otis is like, you did what? I did.
No. I like let me tell you why I like the honesty, because sometimes it's here. It's here in our head, and I'm loving it because, like I said, that's the name of the show, Interruptions. So I want to interrupt whatever you thought, and your movie is going to do that. It's going to interrupt what people thought. And trust me, you're not alone. You just the one that put it, pen to paper, and then put it to film, and then put it to life. So
it's interesting, when Deadline ran the article about the film, they removed the noose from the photograph because the photo that they used has a noose in it.
I saw the photograph. I had
but the Deadline article, they removed it.
That's why I hate we couldn't connect on the other form, because I had it as my backdrop. And so, because I knew you were making a statement with it. And I wanted to catch people's attention with it to say, oh, wait, well, so that's why I said I wanted to have you on, because I enjoyed your work. I've always seen your characters. The way I've always saw your characters is like your characters were always very honest. Like your characters were like, she don't play. and then you kind of look back, right? And you like, she probably like that for real. She probably don't play.
Mm-hmm. And they always would hire me to be that, and then halfway into it, they'd be trying to make me into this nice person. Like, oh, the audience just loves your spine of steel, and then they start turning me into a little marshmallow.
Yeah, but your eyes always totally different. Because I've always been curious. Maybe if you could speak to this as an actor, you talked about it earlier. How do you, when you have no lines, or even if you have a few words, but I'm supposed to read how you're feeling from your face? Yeah, to me, that's like brilliant acting, when I can just look at you and know. How do you guys do that?
Well, first of all, if you think about it, you know that in your real life. You can know when your mama is giving you a look, or your daddy or your girlfriend is giving you a look. You know.
Right.
So it's about bringing that kind of authentic response. Now, it's harder when a camera's on you and you're self-conscious, but there's a wonderful teacher that I work with named, why is his name leaving me? Damn, why is his name leaving me? Anyways, what I'm going to tell you is that you can practice thinking different things and asking a friend, do they get what you were thinking? And you can video it so that you can see how what you're thinking communicates. So that's really what we're doing. Some actors are so good that they can be thinking about ice cream and have you see something else. But generally, if you can get yourself to authentically think something, that's important. The challenge is that most actors, when the camera's just on them and they don't have to talk, they freeze and their mind empties.
Okay.
As long as there is thought, it could be a song, as long as there is thought going on, the audience will project the right feeling on it. It's those times when we get frozen. And if you really think about it, actors get awards for when they're reacting, not for when they're talking. You remember those moments when they were just feeling something and it touched you, and that's what people get awards for.
Well, you long overdue. I can tell you that, you long overdue. But you did get a Tony, and I know that's on stage is harder than film, only because you're getting real reaction.
I don't know if it's harder. It's definitely the place where you have more control, and so you're in a place of power on the stage. Most of us, particularly Black actors, we don't get enough screen time to actually show off our chops on screen. It really took a long time for me to even get good at screen stuff because it just wasn't getting enough screen time to be able to practice it and look and see what it was.
Okay. The only reason I said that was, as you know, when you're on stage, you don't get that cut.
Oh no.
Right, but, and that's what I mean. You have to deliver now. Like you have to
deliver now, and you have to deliver now 20 times in a row sometimes.
Right.
As opposed to when you're on stage, nobody's going to cut you, so you get the beauty of getting to have the whole experience from top to bottom, rather than it being cut in pieces and in different orders and stuff. I mean, that takes a lot of skill to be able to craft a performance or a character's arc when it's all being shot out of sequence.
Yeah. Because most people think that you guys shoot film from beginning to end.
Right.
And it's not that. It's so interesting. I saw, I can't think of his name, the kid that played in Lean on Me, that played Sam, the little kid. And he told me, he said, not me, but I saw an interview, he said, and it's interesting because you said, scenes are out of sequence. He said that when he did Lean on Me, he never read the whole script. So what he did was, okay, this is the scene, and he just went off of that scene, not knowing basically what the whole movie for his character entailed.
Right. That happens a lot, especially with a lot of television where they're keeping things a secret and they don't want anybody to know what's going on. That happens a lot. A lot of times we audition and we don't get to see the script.
Wow. What is, for you, or I don't know if you experienced it, or just as what you know in female, how difficult or challenging it is for African American females in the film industry.
It's difficult for females, period.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that what we're seeing is we've got Issa Rae and Ava DuVernay and Lena Waithe who
Yes.
are kicking ass and taking names and paving the way, and now Katori Hall bringing in all of these other women. So if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and people in
Right.
power aren't going to give it up. So instead of focusing on what's so hard about it, focus on what you can do. The technology is so inexpensive now. You know, Netflix has a series called Homemade with shows on people's phones. So they can't tell you that you made it on your phone and it's not good enough. So there's just no excuse now for us not to be making content. Make content with your friends, for your friends, and build up an audience in your community. And then they'll be coming to you because you already have an audience.
Well, that was my thought process. But and I've been blessed to have people like yourself to come on to give real content, and that's why I try not to talk about the normal stuff because I want to get what's real and what's authentic uh, from whatever the topic is, which in this case film, and your perspective has been enlightened and different from Bill Dukes and different from Dennis White that we interviewed. Um, I got two more questions, but this next question is, how did you get here? How did you persevere through everything that you've been through uh, from start to where you are now in your life? Personal stuff that might have affected your career going back and forth. How did you get here to the point that you are now?
I do believe a bit in destiny and fate. I know that I spent a good amount of energy trying to leave show business. It just was so hard, but I kept getting offered great opportunities. So it must be what I'm supposed to do. And in fact, I finally realized, oh, I do this really well. I'm supposed to do this. But I really fought that for a long, long time. I really wanted to just be a wife and mother, and I just failed at that so many times. And so it's like, oh, this is the thing I'm supposed to do, this thing that I wanted for myself. I just didn't succeed at that. So learning to fati amor, to love what you have, being grateful for where I am with what I have, even when it's hard. I think gratitude is just the most powerful prayer there is. And yeah, it's been long and hard. And I started in Chicago and went to college and did my first Broadway show, which failed after 2 weeks. And then I had left college and, got married, had 3 failed divorces, lost custody of my kids a few times. It's been a hard time, and still I rise. And as my father once said to me, anybody who's gone through what I've gone through would have been a drug addict, would have killed myself or killed somebody else. So, there but the grace of God go I.
Well, I salute you for persevering and keeping going because what I found out in my own personal life is you never know who's watching you, and sometimes it's not even what we go through; it's how we go through what we go through, because somebody's watching you, and it's funny they never tell you that they're watching you until you quote unquote let them down. And I appreciate you keeping on, as the old people used to say, keep on keeping on, and I appreciate that. My last and final question for you is, what's your favorite? Favorite? Is it the stage or is it film?
I have always loved the theater, but making Red Pill has just been one of the most satisfying experiences of my life. It's been one of the hardest experiences of my life. And the best part about it is I'm my own boss. And so the thought of going back and working for somebody else 6 days a week
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, working for myself 7 days a week is good. So, you know, having had this experience, I am grateful for it and hope that I will get many more opportunities to have this experience, being the boss, being the content creator, being the producer, being the director, and to give lots of other people's opportunities. I've done 10 Broadway shows. I've had, you know, I got to do that. Now I want to do this.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Got a friend of mine. She studied film, and she has a friend of hers that wrote a movie. This was 5-6 years ago. Nobody's done anything with it. Called Stiletto Chronicles. Yeah, and so I'm gonna reach out to her, get her permission, and I'm gonna send you that script.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
hope you'll share my trailer for Red Pill so people can come and see Red Pill as soon as we release.
Yes. I'm gonna put that out there, and the website
And my podcast too. You Can't Say That.
What's the name of your podcast?
Oh, I have a podcast called You Can't Say That, and it's the show where you can. And I have talks with police officers and all kinds of people. I mean, my podcast is very much keeping it real. It's on the Broadway Podcast Network.
Well, I'm going to make sure when I post this that on the intro, all that will be out there. The website, the podcast show. Make sure I put all that. I want to have you back because what I want to do next time is I want to have you, Bill Dukes, and maybe another actor, or maybe two, and kind of let you guys kind of break down different perspectives of film and what needs to be done, going forward.
Sounds good.
Well, we thank you for coming on Interruption. Thank you, lovely Miss Tonya.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you for having you.
Thank you.
And be safe and be blessed.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.